All right, so let's start. Can you see my screen? Someone said they can't hear me. Can you hear me now? So let's start. So today we are going to be looking at. I promise we are going to come back to do a little bit of Linux. Not really deep because this is just DAIPODS. When you want to go into things like cybersecurity, um, and also the cloud and all that, you go deeper. But my duty is to help you understand how this whole system works, right? Which we actually started the last time. So please, I want somebody to type on the chat to confirm that my screen is visible. And what can you see on the screen? Please, can you hear me? I want to ensure you can hear me. All right, thank you. So let's start. So last week we looked at okay, so this is a good place to start off. We looked at servers. We kind of tried to define what servers are. So as a way of recap, I'm just going to run through it. Servers are simply computers like yours, but once it begins to um, offer services to more than, like when you have your PC, the reason why it's called a PC because it's a personal computer, like your laptop, your phones, your tablets, and everything. All those things are personal devices because all the resources there are meant to serve only one person, the user. But immediately that device is provisioned to serve two, three, four, or even to connect, more than, any number of systems. It's no longer just a PC. It's referred to as a server. So you can actually convert your own laptop into a server. If you have the knowledge, if you have the expertise, there's a way to do that. You can equally use your desktop as a server. So what I'm trying to say is that server doesn't really mean that you have to go to the market and look for a server. Server actually refers to a function, right? Once your laptop start doing that function of maybe, sharing resources with different other nodes, which is like system or devices, is a server. So um, you can buy a desktop and use it to practice server and all that. So we actually looked at the definition of servers, right? We talked about, you know, um, the cloud. Okay. So sometimes, what you refer to as servers offer a different model of services. So sometimes you might just want to, like your laptop, you buy everything, you manage everything. Everything is in your system. For companies, they might have it on their premises. Okay. So it's serving different people. Maybe in a building, you have a server that is serving different people. That's what is referred to as on-premise because the organization manages everything from network storage, the servers, the virtualization, the operating system, the middleware, the runtime data, um, data layer, and of course the application. So you see other arrangements where some of these things are provided, but you manage. For instance, they give you the whole um, system, right? You don't have to, manage the network, the storage, the servers, and all you need to do is to install your own OS and everything that depends on your own OS. Okay, you might have a custom OS for a specific reason, so you manage that. But sometimes when the servers come, OSs have already been installed, up to the level of runtime. So runtime is like a development environment where you develop software. So you write code. There are different runtime for different programming languages. I've talked about it. Then the last one is everything has been provided, including the application. This is what a lot of us, when you download a game and you play the game, you're not building the game, you're just using the game, you're using the application. So that is the software, that is an application. So they give you as a service. So when we talked about this, we kind of refer to as server, as any system that provides resources, and resources could be data, even programs and all that network to other people. So you can see the servers can equally be local area or wide area. You can see in the first diagram there, the server is, interacting with three devices. But also, another way to look at it also is when you are connected to the internet as well. Okay, the internet is a backbone. It helps you to locate servers that are in different places in the world. So if I build a website, I will host it, right? So what you call hosting, there are a lot of hosting companies. Those companies, what they basically do is to take your resources and put it in a server. So you are paying for the space there they have given you to put your resources there, so that anybody anywhere in the world that has your domain name and address will be able to locate that particular information. So you pay them annually, monthly, depending on your agreement. Okay. So what happens is that the internet is actually the gateway for you to access those servers. So, of course, this server we are referring to now is a public, right? Because it has a public IP and somebody can refer to it. So, what does it tell you here? You can actually have your own website built in your own house, put in your own desktop, and people all over the world can come to that. As far as one thing happens, as far as you have what we call open IP, which you pay for, like you are buying, just like you're constructing road to your village, that's the amount is going to take you for people to come to your village. That's so that you pay for that. So that's what it means. So another thing that people need to disabuse their mind is that when they talk about server, people will only think about the physical hardware. No, server is more than physical hardware. Server sometimes can be referred to as what? The virtual machines. Okay. The software program also that helps people to share information and resources. So we looked at this. Sometimes, you have people look at, I think this is 30, yeah, 30 different systems that are connected to three different servers. So you have a server for email, you have a server for web service, then you have a server for database. So this used to be the case. If you need another thing, you have to install another server. But at the same time, it's actually consuming resources. For instance, power. How do you power all these servers? So we decided to say, how can we solve this problem? It is through virtualization, meaning that I can buy just one machine and then virtualize, an environment that will enable me run these three things using one server. So that's what they call a virtual machine. So we talked about this last time, and the major thing that makes a virtual machine possible is hypervisor. This hypervisor feature creates that environment. You can look at the second picture. Instead of having two different systems, you have only one system. Then the hypervisor is able to provide one for the email, okay, one for other resources like database and so on and so forth. So that's what they call virtualization. Whenever you hear virtualization, I hope you won't be confused. It's a very simple concept. And we kind of talked about different virtual machines. I'm not going to broadly run through this in, but I want you to pay special attention to the table on top, the types. So you have a system, enough resources to run different things. But the second type, okay, is process, only one process. So the first type can run multiple processes. The second type can run only one process. They equally call it application level, right? So example, somebody is that. Can you still hear me? All right. So okay. Now, we have examples of each of the following, right? And down here, you can see other stuff that we talked about. So, today, We are going to jump some steps. These steps I've actually explained it, how you virtualize your machine. This is just like if a presentation of it. You have your hardware. You put your, of course, your host OS is already installed. Then you put your virtual machine, install your virtual machine, so they can provide this hypervisor for you to install what we call guest operating systems, and then you can run your application. So that's where we stopped. So today we're going to be doing some Linux operations, right? Because Linux does not come with Windows. I'm using a Windows. I said it in the class that I'm using a Windows machine, and I'm going to be using the Windows machine to run some of my Linux. Some people mention that Mac OS already has what they call parallel. Yes. So, but I think if you follow through, this does not only apply to Windows, but sometimes you might need to virtualize your environment as well. So you can even install a Linux on a Linux system. You can install a Windows server, for instance, on a Windows machine as well. So there are a lot of opportunities, depending on what you want to do. So let us talk about Linux. First of all, are we installing Linux? Why are we installing Linux? Is actually an open source, so it has a limitless amount of features and possibilities that you can use it for. If you are serious about certain things, first of all, it's an open source. It's actually a Unix-like open system. The idea of Linux actually is, I know I mentioned kernel. Okay, the OS is actually the kernel. Then there are different distributions that use the same kernel. So they call it distro. So I'm going to come to that. In fact, the name Linux means Linux is not Unix. Okay, that's the that's the name. So we have the person that introduced him is Linus Torvalds. That's his name. He's a Finnish American software engineer, and he didn't like the way some of these softwares are kind of commercialized and everything. So he decided to go, on his own, and then started this idea of an open source. People can actually build their own software and customize it. And that was what led us to different distributions. So I think this they call it distros. Whenever I see distros, that's what Linux distros mean, different distribution of Linux. So there are ones that are perfect for desktop, which is Ubuntu. We have what's this again? Linux Mac, yes, for Mac OS. The LM there is Linux Mac, and then you have Fedora. So these are basic ones for desktop. So we are going to be using the first one, which is the most popular one. That's Ubuntu. Um, because I'm using a personal computer, but it is good to mention other distros as well. So for those that are going to be running things that has to do with server level configuration, you have Red Hat, you have Debian. Actually, Ubuntu is actually a version of Debian. Then you have CentOS, right? Then for those that are going to be doing stuff on hardware, you have embedded, um, you have embedded Linux, you have Raspberry Pi, and others. So, Yocto. So, embedded, of course, embedded system is a whole career on its own. It has to do with, if you are familiar with IoTs, it's actually embedded systems that are connected to the internet that we refer to as IoTs. So you can make any device IoT enabled, okay? Like your fridge, your lights at your home, the windows and all that. You can connect it over the internet. So it is now the thing that is interacting with the internet and not the human being. So that's why you call Internet of Things. So device is now a thing. So for you to configure all those things, of course, you know that they have to run on an OS. So most of the time, um, Raspberry Pi is used. There are other Raspberry Pi is a microprocessor. There are other ones also like micro controllers, um, like what's it called? Arduino, yes, Arduino. So, having mentioned this, Ubuntu is the most popular one. Okay, there is Ubuntu for desktop, Ubuntu for server, and Ubuntu core. I took you through this last week. I'm not going to repeat how to install. I dropped this link. I hope you guys are able to do that. You go to and download, click on this, then click on the other one. What you have here is 20 point something. So when you go, I don't know, the latest one is going to show up on their website. So the LTS you see there is long time support or something like that. So that's the one you try to download because it's like it's stable, right? Okay, so that is the host OS, but you need to install the virtual box. That's the virtual machine. So this virtual box is provided by Oracle. So you use this link again, go to and download the virtual box, and so of course there are different virtual boxes for different host operating system. I took you through. You have to get that of Windows because I personally I was using Windows. So when you download it, I took you to the process. There are two things you download: the virtual box and the virtual box extension. So first of all, you install the virtual box environment. Click on yes. You keep on clicking on next, next, next until you finish. So this will give you, the interface where you now install the extension. So for you to install the extension, you click on the, options button there. You see extension, you click on extension. Then you see install, you click on install, and then you read all the agreements. Of course, you click on agree, and then you see it will refer to the version of the virtual box you want to install. So when you click on it, you have to navigate to the file of the second this thing you downloaded. This is it. So you click on the machine, okay, and then click on add. That's new. Sorry. Click on new, give provide all this information, give it a name. Is a virtual machine you want to install Ubuntu. Now you go and locate your Ubuntu again, okay, and then you go to the next one. Your username and password, I've mentioned this in the last class. Put your username, password, and repeat the password. Then you go to the next step where you allocate memories and processors. So this is actually the virtualization. So we are actually creating something that looks like a real hardware, sorry, a real OS. Yeah, the real hardware which the OS is being installed. So that hardware kind of is virtualized, but actually, for instance, you look at this slide now. I have 16 gig RAM. I'm allocating four. That's 400 megabytes or so. Is equivalent to 4 gig. So 16 thousand. Okay, sorry, 4,000. Yeah, is 4,000 megabytes is equivalent to 4 gig. 16,000 megabytes is the total. So you will see them. They even give you an indication. Don't approach that red something that looks like a red line because it is dangerous for your system. It's going to slow your system down. Please don't try this if the hardware in your system is not very strong. So the last one is the hard disk. So it gives you some storage, right? Out of 2 terabytes, I'm giving it 25 gig only. So when it fills up, I might not have to worry about it. Then click on finish, blah, 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 you install. So this is where we're going to kind of kick off today because I am assuming that you have installed it. So I'm going to open mine, okay? Let me just close here. And then we'll run some terminal. Just few terminal, just to show you how the terminal works, okay? Probably it's not the dipod we have to actually move. So what I might do is to develop or get my guys to develop a full video on Linux operating system. Those that are probably in the DevOps track, I'm sure they would have done Linux completely because Linux and things like we're going to talk about Bash very soon. Bash script, which is a CI/CD kind of thing that helps people to do version control. Version control simply means I am designing a website. I'm designing a mobile app. I'm designing a web application. So probably version one is where I have my login. Version two is where people can upload their pictures. So if I create that particular functionality, it means it's not a version one. So continuous, we call it CI/CD, continuous development, continuous integration. So you don't have to pull the whole information down or your whole the software down. What you do is when there is a new version, you simply merge it with the original. That's why sometimes when you open your app, the bank will tell you that there's a new version of this particular software. You need to upgrade. You click on yes to upgrade. That's what they call continuous. So these days, unlike the what they used to do before, they first of all shut it down. You uninstall the old version and then install the new one. So of course, the technology and methodology they are improving. Anyway, Sha, that's not the story for today. What I'm trying to tell you, how those things are done. Of course, some of our guys in different tracks will be handling that one. I don't know the track that we are in. We are going to do the Linux system, bash script and all that. So DAIPODS is not really the place to do detailed learning around that. So once you install your this thing, this is what you see, and this is what we are going to do, today. Okay. Now let me just this is just a slide, so I will have to stop sharing so I can pull up the windows, right? Okay. So I have to share again. All right. So the virtual machine is now up, and now our Ubuntu is up and running, right? So this Ubuntu is the host, sorry, the guest OS. My Windows, my own system, is the host OS. So when I was configuring this thing, remember I gave names and passwords. So this is where that is important, right? So I'm seeing my name, the law, right here. So I'm going to click on it. Okay, that's the user. Then that password I set up, I'm going to put the password here, when I was launching it. And also the team will now, you know, give me access to the virtual machine. Okay, sorry, access to the guest OS. Just hold on, it's coming up. Let me pause the recording. All right, so you have this Ubuntu is up and running now. Okay, you can see it. You can even use it to browse. You can see file. Okay, let us use the GUI first. But the reason why I'm here is definitely because of the CLI. Okay, before we go to the CLI, let's just have a feel of the GUI. You can see it looks like your Windows. Look at Mozilla Firefox. Okay, you can click on it and then you can browse. Okay, so everything you can do, you can browse if you connected to the internet. So now in this case, the internet is not a resource that is allocated to what, to this particular um, host OS. But you can see when we talk about sharing resources, the hypervisor is able to, because I'm already connected to the internet in my own um, host OS, right? This one doesn't need to look for my file or something to connect. So I can use the internet here. So that's the resource sharing. Okay, so you can see I don't need to use the internet. You can see you can browse. You can install software as well, especially software. This is not, when you're installing software here, you're not going to be installing Windows version of any software, but Linux version of the software, right? So there's equally File Explorer. This second one here, let me click on it. You can see File Explorer equally looks like that of the Windows. You see documents, download, music, pictures, videos, and all that. Okay, so these are all, subfolders. People use directory, okay, especially for Linux, they use more of directory, not C folder. So when we start writing codes, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so you can click on any one. You can see the document is empty. The download is empty. I've not started putting. So what it means is, I remember when I was setting this up, I just gave it only 25 gig, right? So whatever you're putting here, if you store anything here, you're not going to see it when you open your Windows, because it's not stored on the Windows what um, OS, right? I need to take note of that. So you can see other things. This is App Center, like what you can call App Store, or with Microsoft this thing. When you click on it, hold on, just give me a minute. It's going to come up. My system is a little bit slow because the resources I'm sharing is very limited. So you can see there's a lot of apps also. Of course, most of them are equally free. So the world does not begin and end with Windows, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there are people that live on this Linux. They don't use Windows like you use it, right? All the apps you can see, they have categories: education, games, security, photo editing, video editing, entertainment, development, and all that, finance and all that. So if I want, I can keep scrolling, So a lot of people are building. Look at even development environment. Look at Android Studio. Okay, you can install an Android Studio here if you don't want it to interfere with your Windows. So you can buy a laptop that has something like 32 gig RAM, right? And then you can allocate 8 gig RAM, and probably if you have 2 terabytes, you can allocate like 500 gig, and you can comfortably come in and run everything comfortably on your host guest OS, which is the Ubuntu. So this Ubuntu is the most popular one. You can see a lot of things. So I don't want to, dwell so much on all this, but I can tell you, you are going to still enjoy it the way you enjoy your Windows, but you have to get used to it first. So you have help, if you want to understand how to use Ubuntu, everything you need to. I have to take time to do all this thing because um tomorrow you can even know more than Lawrence. It's not about the person that taught you, but if you come here now and start reading all this documentation, definitely you should be the one teaching me tomorrow. So tech does not respect, age or something, or whoever introduced you, or the time that you are introduced to it. So if you want to read more on any of these things, just come and click on this question mark, with blue background here. Yes, so we are now, I will show you all these things because this is not the reason why we are here. We are going to use the next 30 minutes to look at our CLI. This is what we call GUI. I've talked about it before. This is graphical user interface. So now for us to go to CLI, right? You can close all this, right? There is a close button, of course, located at the top right hand side. That's the default location. You can see the browser is still open. I can close it. The music is still open. I can close it. So when you close all these things, right, all you need to do, okay, is to what? Open your terminal. This is my terminal here, okay. Um, the terminal is, look at it. It has a you see a black. I can call it ash, right? Then with forward arrow and a dash. That's your terminal, okay. So you can click on it. But if your terminal is not there, what you are going to do, go to the top left hand side. You are going to see something like a white dash, the one I'm seeing here. Click on it. You understand? You can see it's gone. If I click on it, it appears again. This helps you to search for any app, okay, that is not visible here. So when I click on this, I can click here and now type terminal. You can see it's showing up now. Okay. Now you can right click on the terminal and then you can, my own is showing on pin because I've already pinned it to the what, to the start bar. So I don't need to unpin it. So I'm going to click on it. Then the terminal will open. Okay. This is why we are here today. All right, so let us start. This is similar to, we did some command line. Okay, it's similar to command line. Um, but this has different syntax, that you use. So it's not the same as the command line. Okay, I'm just going to show you a few. This is for those that are doing DevOps, ladies and gentlemen. This is the kind of thing the kind of screen that they use. Oh, okay, to do all those management of cloud resources and all that, even cloud computing. You will not be able to do cloud computing without understanding Linux system. That is why it is not it is necessary for us to talk about it so that you get to know about it, not to become a professional. Just what I'm doing here now is so that you become aware. DIPOD is about, it's just like an orientation, awareness creation, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in this class, it means that you are aware of what is obtainable, okay, last class and now. There is no serious person that is into system administration, number one. Number two, there's no serious person into cyber security. I'm not talking about, because all these things they have various levels. I'm not talking about because a lot of things that we have in Nigeria, and most of the people that claim that they are experts in stuff are what we refer to as evangelists. After some time, you see people with flyers on Facebook, say come and attend something, a master class or something. Somebody that does not know anything is organizing a master class. Let me tell you what happens. When some companies come up with this technology, they are looking for those that will sell it in different countries in Africa. So when they see someone that is willing, they'll give the person resources and say, okay, do you know what? I want you to do a community, and we like that name, community for Africa. Nigerian can wear t-shirts, for the world. Once they send you that t-shirt and you're able to take a picture, you do community for DevOps. Meanwhile, the person has never provisioned a common EC2 instance in his whole life, but you are the one organizing a program. Ladies and gentlemen, they also want somebody to be able to gather people so that they can come and introduce their technology. Those that want to use can use. So, of course, everybody has a part. I'm not saying your part is bad, though, but what I'm trying to say is that um, sometimes you don't really know these things. So all you need to do is get a venue. Of course, they are not in Nigeria, so they need somebody that will help them get a venue, organize the thing. They will send you some money. You're able to, pay for the all, get refreshment. I think our generation, we like a lot of what we call, what was it called again? T-shirt and pen and paper, jota. I've forgotten the name. Oh. There's this name they use for stuff that they used to give. It's not at themselves. T-shirts and stuff. Yes, they used to give it. Okay, well, let me continue. So we like all those things, So once that is done, the person the person will now get, a venue and begin to set up the screen, and then the main guy, probably somewhere in Finland or in Switzerland or UK, America, will now come and talk about this whole thing. Anyway, what brought me to this story? Let me go back before I deviate. If you're a serious cybersecurity expert, not an evangelist of cybersecurity, like DevSecOps kind of level, there's no way you can do without Linux. So what I'm doing now is to tell you the importance of what we are learning now. Number two, I've talked about cybersecurity. Number two, cloud. There is no serious cloud engineer, and I'm telling you people the important career that is developing at a very fast rate. Okay, there's nobody that's going to be doing cloud, and by extension, let me add systems admin and IT support. If you call me, if you are employed in a big organization as a system administrator, sometime, most time, you're going to be running prompts like the one we did before, command prompts and stuff like that to solve problems. Because if you are using Clickly, what's the difference between you and the person that is calling you? They are going to call your attention to come and assist them. Even if you can use the GUI, please don't use the GUI, use the CLI. That shows they are a professional. Because the person you are solving the problem will depend on you. Unless you want to become ordinary, then after some time they will do without you. They will sack you now. But whenever you can open one blast screen, the what we call terminal or shell, and start typing. After typing, doing the magic, and the thing is restored. That's when you're a professional. Now they keep on calling you. So number two, I said any cloud engineer that is going to be into DevOps, okay, IT you cannot do without Linux. So I have mentioned all these things. So you need to know, where you belong to. So IT support, DevOps, cloud computing, cybersecurity. You must learn this, and this is the kind of interface you are going to be dealing with. So I need to mention the importance of this thing before we start. So now I think we are going to start, right? Um, Try and do this on your own because this is a live class. You might not be able to wait, and it's recorded. So we just have to continue. So what you have here, you see law at Ubuntu Tyndall. Okay, that's a tilde. I think that's tilde or something. You see something that looks like a curl, like this thing. Then you have what the prompt. The prompt is your dollar sign. Your dollar sign is what prompts you to type your commands. So what you see there in that line is the name I gave this particular the account, because I opened an account while installing this Ubuntu on the virtual box. So I gave it the law. If you remember, when I was trying to sign up, you saw something like the law. Then at Ubuntu, the law are just like your normal email at the operating system. So you have that till that you still do you see there is home. Okay, it shows that I am in home, right? But the dollar sign is just there to prompt, so it tells you it is safe for you to start typing your command, right? So look at um the comment that is there. To run a command as administrator, that's user is equal to root. Okay, use sudo before you type the command. Please, let's not go into that. It's above the scope of this particular work. So in the term of Linux, there's what they call root, there's what they call group, there's what they call user. So, but we're not going to go into all that. I don't want to confuse anybody, right? These are different levels of, admin privileges. Root is higher than user. So let us stick to user. So this thing has timed out. Okay. So you can see it's even good that it timed out. You can see the law is the user account, okay, not the root account or the main account of this particular. So I'm going to type my password, okay, and then open it up again. So you can see that I am here. So the first thing that you need to understand is the first command we are going to give today is a command called what? Hold on, before we go into this, right? Okay, before we go into this thing, let me show you some things, right? If you look at this, you see these options here. Okay, I've clicked on the options, right? So these are some things you can tweak. You can increase the font size, you can change the windows, you can make the background black, you can make it white and all those things. So these are the places you can do it. Okay, you can go full screen. I don't want to go full screen. I can make it read only, you can go to advanced, but what I want to look at now is, let's go to preferences, right? Okay, when you go to preferences, it opens another window like this. So this is actually just setting up your CLI. Okay, what we call terminal now is command interface. So you can see you have global settings, right? I just want to show you here, but we're not going to do much of those things. You have general settings. You can see variants. You have the dark, you have the lights. Okay, so we are using the dark. The dark is already selected, meaning that we are going to have a dark background and a light right up, as against having a white background and a light uh, a white background and a colored right up. So opens new terminal. If you want to open a new terminal, is it going to open it in a new window or is it going to open it in a new tab? So that's new tab position. Is it going to take the position as the last one, or is it going to take position on the next? So this is when you set up. You can see there are other set of shortcuts. Look at different shortcuts that you can see here, how you can open windows. So if you want to learn shortcuts, you can look at them here. So why I'm showing you all these things, Lawrence cannot come and be teaching you shortcut for new tab is shift plus control. This one alone is a full topic on this. So when you come back, just having shown you that you can come here and access this thing, that is why you are in this particular lecture, right? So these are where you can find shortcuts, right? Then you see, let's go to profile. Okay, there's a plus here. When you click on it, you can give a profile name. What is a profile name? So I can create a profile. It's not an account though, right? A profile means any setting I do here, okay, make it big, make it dark mode, color, change the color, this other one, this other one, this other one, right? I don't need to come and be doing that setting again. So when I want to use my terminal, I can come and choose the profile name, and then my terminal will, assuming if I just imagine if I did 7 configurations for this, every time I come on this OS and I open the terminal, will I come back and repeat those 7 configurations? So what this does is to help you. All the configuration I'm going to set here now is going to help me store them. So whenever I come here, I will choose that profile. So let me just say the law. Okay, I can create. Look at it now. Once you create profile, you see, look at it now. The law is the profile. So you can see text. Okay, what size is the text in the terminal? Okay, I can decide to increase it. You can see where I'm increasing it. Okay, the font color, um everything that is here. I don't want to do too much here. I just want to show you. Look at color. You can see different colors, transparent background, blah blah blah. The scrolling, the setting of the scrolling, the command, and everything. Compatibility. Please don't touch any of these things if you don't understand them. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you stop where I stop. Curiosity can drive you. You can take this evening and say, okay, let me understand what Mr. Lawrence talked about preferences in minutes, right? Now, other people will teach you this thing without even kind of going deeper, right? Because they don't just simply know it. Nobody will know all these things. So you can see on names, this one is checked. So we are going to just click on names and just leave it like that. This law, I can delete it. I don't want it. Okay, delete. So I just showed you how to do that. So at the end of the day, I can close this thing and go back my this thing. So This is where you can increase the font and all that. Let me see whether it will work because I'm using the unknown here. All right, go to preferences again. Click on the unnamed. Let me see if I increase the font. Initial terminal size. I didn't see any changes, so do I need to save or something? Text appearance, custom fonts. I don't need to change the font. It's the size I'm interested in. Reset rating. Okay, so let's not waste time here, but okay, is this set as this? Okay, I can't set it as default. Why? Okay, this one is changing. No, this is changing. So yeah, so this is where you can change some of these things. Okay, but let me leave it at this because I like this dark mode. So I haven't shown you all these things. The first thing I want you to do is the first command is man. Remember we had question mark in prompt, but this time around the thing has changed. Man means manual. So when you type man before anything, it will give you the function and how each of those commands are used. For instance, if I want to see, okay, let me use man manual for manual, right? Let me see the manual of this command manual. If I click on enter, it will give you, look at all these things, right? You see, it will give you different results. So these results, okay, is to show you how to use that particular command, right? So you can take your time and read it. Like I'm showing you all these things so that imagine if only manual alone can take me all the time today. So you're just going to look at that. Then um, whenever you are in this kind of mode, the question is how do I get back to my my command line interface? Okay. Um, what you just you can see there is a label here. There's an instruction. Manual page, that's page 1, line 229. Press H if you need help on that particular spot, or Q if you want to quit. So of course the answer is already there. So if you want to leave this particular place, you click on Q. Okay. Now you can see we are back to the command interface. The next thing you are going to do is, let's go to the first command. The first command I want us to learn, okay, is PWD. PWD means present working directly. Remember in Windows, okay, present working directly means something else. CD in Windows or dir. Dir is something that like ls here. So you can see they are similar, but they are not the same syntax. Okay, so now let's use equally manual. Let's see If I say man, then pwd, I want to read about this command pwd. Why am I teaching you this? So that on your own you can explore more. There's nobody that's going to come to a class and teach you everything. So you can say pwd. First of all, it gives you the name. The name is print name of current working directory. That's the name. I wouldn't say present working directory, but it makes sense also. So synopsis, you have PD, then you give space and then put option. And the options include print the full name of the current working directory. When you say P, so when you say dash L, it means logical. Use PWD for environment even if it contains symlinks. So what you are showing here is you see dash L, you see dash P, okay? Or it's showing that first of all type PWD, right, and give a space. And that place you have options up there. After this one now, you replace it with all these things, and this whole thing will happen. Okay. You can see there are other this thing, copyright, authoring, and all that. So that's PW. If I want to quit, I'll type Q, right? So let us run that PWD. Okay, let's know where we are. I don't know where we are right now. So I'm going to type PWD, enter. Okay, it now gives me that I am in home. Okay, because I remember I told you people that whenever you see that tilde, okay, it's kind of showing that you're in home. So I'm in home, I'm in the law. So let us look at home. Where is your home? Let's click on, let's use just like we did in the Windows, let's use as your GUI. So if you click on GUI, for instance, you see folders here, right? Something that looks like your File Explorer in Windows. Okay, if this is your File Explorer in Windows, what you can do is let's go to other locations. You see, under other locations down here, you're going to see Ubuntu because that's where you actually started from. When you click on the Ubuntu, you see bin, boot, CD-ROM, dev, etc, home, and everything. Look at home here. Okay, but if you click on home, you see the law. You see where we are now. This is where we are currently. So you can see Ubuntu. Look at this address bar now. Okay, you can even copy the location and everything. We are going to talk about absolute five parts and relative five parts. Okay, so let me just close this thing. This is just to show you what we are doing in here is equally applicable, right? So I just showed you in the GUI, but we're going to continue with the CLI. Okay, so now let's go to another command. We have done PWE. Another command we want to do today is CD. And CD here is actually the same as that of command prompt in Windows. CD means change directory. Remember in Windows we had change directory, slash something something. Sorry, change directory. We just give a space and give the name of the directory after doing dir. So yeah, we're going to let's check the manual for change directory. So you say man, then cd is change directory, and then what you're going to have here is no manual entry for change directory. So it means that this particular command does not even have a manual. You understand? So you just have to work with it the way it means that it's a very old command that the manual is not even needed, it's not necessary. So it doesn't stop you from, it doesn't mean that you are wrong in what you typed. Okay. So let's now go to home, right? Let's go to home because if you say, um, how do we go home? You go to CD, okay? You give a space, then forward slash. You observe that we are now using more of forward slash in this one. Just from now, I'm going to type home. Okay, enter. Now, you will notice that in place of that tilde, we are now having home. Home has replaced it. because we are no longer in the what just root directory. We have entered into what home, right? Now, here we can check what are the contents of this, okay? Um, but if you want to go back as well, right, what you can type is cd, okay? Cd is again change what directory. Our root is the law. The law is the account, right? That's the overriding for hierarchically. The law is my name, which I used to open this particular Ubuntu. So I am now in home, right? So I have left the root directory. I'm now in home. So if I want to go back to the law, what I'm going to do is I'll say change directory again. I'm going to go back. I'll type the law. Sorry, you have to get the spelling of the law. Now, see the difference. The other one is cd space before slash, but this one is cd the law and then slash. Slash means take me back to the root. That's the last slash there. I hope you observe the difference now, because I needed to make this thing very, very clear. You can see now that in the next line, that $, is now back, and the dollar is back to for me to type the next command. Also, I want you to notice something. The same thing that we observed in prompts. Okay, when you use the up arrow and the down arrow, okay, it will be bringing up all, look at all the commands I've typed today. Okay, you can bring it up. So this means also that I can clear the screen. In command prompt, the clearing of the screen is CLS, but in this case, the clearing of the screen is just clear, as in full spelling. You type it, it will clear the screen. Okay, so, but this clearing of the screen does not mean that I have lost all my commands. If I want to type the previous command like cd/home, I'll use up arrow, and when I reach there, I'll click on enter. And when I want to take it back to the law, in fact, if I want to clear it, I'll go up. When I see clear, I'll type enter. The thing will clear. So this is, you can see there are similarities, as regards what we are doing here on Windows. Why I'm showing you this thing is that if this class ends before probably exhaust, you can go and say, probably this is a world of AI. You can go to ChatGPT, for instance, okay, give me all the commands of Linux in a tabular form and tell me what they do. So my job is to open that door for you to go and expand your knowledge. Like I said, when I teach people, I don't put them under me. I teach them to go and explore and even become better. You understand? Tomorrow. That's the idea. So you don't have to limit yourself to what I can give you. I have limited resources. How much of the time do I give this, to be able to teach you everything? But see that this is enlightenment so that you can become powerful. You can do a lot of things with this whole thing. And that's why I am taking time to go through this the way, I am doing it right now. So, okay, having said that, also, let us look at how do you know the folders that are within your present location, right? In the command, you use dir, okay? If I type dir, I don't know, let me just try something. Okay, so dir, interesting. Dir equally works here. So that's nice. So you can see under the law in Ubuntu, you have desktop, you have documents, you have download, you have music, you have public distance. So let me see. Okay, give me the manual for dir. Let's even see. Okay, man, dir, enter. Good. Dir means list directory content. Wow. So which means this is exactly the same with Windows. So description, you have the synopsis dir. Okay, you can see the syntax. After saying dir, you give a space and then give options and probably give files and everything. So what are the options? You have dir, you give space minus a. Okay. Do not ignore entry starting with, I'm not sure I understand that. Do not ignore entry starting. Okay. Do not ignore entry starting with dots, meaning give me all the hidden folders. Okay, that's what it means. Then you have minus capital A. You can see now there is a capital A and there's minus capital A, and there's minus minus author, there's minus B, there's minus minus. So you can go down and read all the documentations, right? This is the correct way to learn. You can say minus H, human readable, blah, 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 and all that. So let us try one. I see minus A here, all. Okay, so if I want to quit, of course, you know what to do. You just type what? Q. Now you quit. So what I'm going to do is dir minus A or dash A. Because dir space dash A. Let me test that one. Enter. Okay, so it gives you more everything. You can see, don't ignore the one that has dots. So you can see all the files that has dots, including, before now they are hidden. Okay, if I say ordinary dir, you will not see all the files that have dots. It will just give me desktop. So this means that if I want to enter desktop, right, I have seen the content of the current location where I am at. So I'm going to type cd, which is change directly, right, slash. Remember, in Windows you don't push slash, but in this case you push slash. Now let me test something. Remember, in Windows we use D and then use tabs. Okay, it doesn't work. It simply goes to devs, right? So I'm going to go back to dir, enter. So I am going to type it in full. That's what it means. So in Windows, when we use D and you start typing tabs, all the directories that starts with D, download, desktop, documents, they will appear until you see the one you are looking for and then click on and press enter. But this time around, I'm going to do CD, okay, /. I'll now type documents, okay, and then enter. So it's telling me no such file or documents. Sorry, did I miss anything? Okay, don't put slash. Why? Hold on. Yeah. EWD. Okay, I think it's the same thing. No? I think it's the same thing. So I think only that slash is only when you're working with the home. Let me do it again for home. CD slash home. Okay, it works for home, right? And then let me say dir in home is the law. Let me say cd. Does it work? Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, I think is the slash will come after. So it's only in home. So let me say cd the law. The law. Gosh. Okay, so it's the home folder and the root folder. So let me go back to yes, I'm now in the law. So if I say dir should give me all the documents and all that. But let me clear the screen. Sorry, it's getting clogged up. Clear. So I have dir now. Okay, give me all the this thing. I have desktop. This is so when you want to enter anyone, if you want to enter something like videos, I'll just say cd space. I'll type video without slash. So please correct that videos, then enter it now in videos. So I'll say dir. So please, you need to correct that slash this thing I made. Okay. So dir and ls seems to be doing the same thing. Ls is the list. Okay. I know of ls, but I wanted to try dir somehow. Magically, the thing worked. But the correct
Hello, sir. So sorry, sir. We're not hearing you.
Oh, sorry. My microphone went off. When did you stop? Can you hear me now?
About 5 minutes ago, we stopped hearing you, sir.
5 minutes. Wow. Did you see me make P1, P2, P3, which is the last thing I did? Hello. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, I was asking, did you witness the P1, P2, P3? I just want to know where to start off from. The creation of P1, P2, P2, the parent folders and all that.
Yes. But we couldn't hear anything. I was just looking at the screen. I thought it was my network actually.
Okay, okay. All right, so one of my screen has gone off. All right, let me just continue here. But the screen is still visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I was saying is that you can create multiple folders. So I'm now back to the root folder. Sorry, I have to go in again by saying dir to know the where I am. So I have to go into, I created all those things in my document. And to enter my document, I have to go to cd and then space document, exactly how it is spelled in the list. Okay. Okay, meanwhile, there's another way I actually mentioned it. I don't know whether you guys saw that. Let me just remove this thing. Let's try again up here. Okay. So I was saying that if you check the manual for DIR, there's something that is there. Manual DIR. Enter. You see now, if you scroll up, you can scroll, you can see there's a place for L dash L. Okay. Use a long listing format. So I was saying that if you want to quit, you can just say quit. I was saying that if you use dir and say dash L, it's a long listing format. Instead of just listing, can if you look up there, you see it says desktop document download, they are all in one line. So when you say dir without this, that's what I'm saying, it's going to give you that one line. But when you say dir, then my dash L, the long distance, you can see how it's recording it. It shows you, first of all, the one you have DRW, this thing. I'm going to show you what they actually mean. So let me do a quick search on Google so that it will be easy for you guys to, I can't teach everything. Let me just DW, this thing, R, DW, XR, meaning in Linux. Okay. So you can see it's showing permissions, right? So I think let me go to images and see if there's an image that's all right. So let me put up this, you can see. Please confirm that the screen is still visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm just trying to, show you what all these jargons means. Okay, so that whenever you see it, you not be scared again. I'm just looking at good. So now, if you look at this, the first D means is a directory. Okay, so whenever you come to the Linux and see these jargons here, D means everything here is a folder. That's number one. That one taken. The second one is, will the user be able to read, write, and execute? Right? So you have, after the D, you're going to have like a couple of three. This is three, this is three, this is three, right? Three, three, three. So the first one, remember I told you that there are categories of privileges. The first one is the user, the second one is the group, and then others. So you can see in this case, the user. So let me go back to this place so you understand. So you notice that after D, okay, you have RWX, then R-X, and then R-X. What it means is that there are pairs of 3 items each. Okay, the first one is automatically the user. It means that the user can read, can write, and can execute. The second one is the group. The group can read but cannot write but can execute. So here you have dash, it means that the privilege is missing. Okay, others also. So the user can assign a group and a group can assign the others. You understand? The user can equally assign others. So there are is beyond the scope of this, but you need to understand there's a place where you begin to like assign, okay, privileges. For instance, if you want to manage your file, all these things are done in systems administration, by the way. So this is another one. You can see the same thing. Type means is a directory, is not a file. Then the next three is what? User. Read, write, and execute. The next one is a group. Read, write, and execute. The next one is others. Read, write. So when you can see this one you're having here is not looking like this one. So this one means you are giving privileges to everybody. You understand? But the other one, you can see that they removed this one now. They removed the rights privilege for both the group and others. Now you can see again entry type, different languages. Okay, you can see the user RWX, R-X, R-X. So if you go home now, you can see the same thing, no matter how they want to twist this thing. Okay, you can see readable, writable, executable. Very simple. This one is showing the dates and everything. Let me drop this. I think this is the best one. Let me see if I can drop it in the charts. Okay. Am I able to drop it in the charts? Yeah. Okay. So my time is almost up. So let me drop in the charts. Okay. So confirm you can see it on the chart, please. Can you hear me? I hope I've not gone again.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, so yeah, I've just dropped it in the chat. So let me pull it up again. So that's what I meant, that when you now do dir, okay, dash l, okay, that's what you see. Okay, it just explains all these things to to your understanding. Let me clear screen, enter. So let me start again. So I was saying the last time you lost me, what you could actually, okay, where am I? PWD, present working directory. Okay, I'm in the law. I now say dir. Okay, I want to enter my documents. I say CD. CD means change directory. Then I'll type my document, case sensitive this time around. my documents. Okay, spell it very well. I am now in my documents. I will now say dir, okay. Dir, enter. Okay, so I created DAIPODS 1, DAIPODS 2, DAIPODS 3. And the way I created test 1, 2, 3 is using one line, right? So I can remove test 1, 2, 3, okay, by using the command, right? I want to create it again, but I want to remove it first. So let me use the opportunity and teach the command to remove rm dir. So that is remove directory. So I can say test 1. Let me see if I can remove 3 of them at the same time. Test 2. That's the essence of command prompt. Test 3. Now enter. It has removed them. So if I say dir now, I'm not going to see test 1, test 2, test 3. Okay, so the command for removing a test folder, sorry, a folder or a directory is rmdir. Okay, so that's for Linux. So what I was saying, probably when you lost me, is that how can you create a parent folder? Okay, so let me remove now you will notice that I cannot remove p1 because I used a command that if I go to change directly to p1 now, okay, sorry, I have to p1. If I enter, if I say dir, I'll see it has a child p2. Okay, that was what I was teaching when my mic went off. So you can create a parent and a child folder and even a child folder to the child, like a grandchild to that parent. So let's do that. Okay, let's do that. So I am now in p2, for instance. Now, why am I stressing on this? You can only remove an empty folder with that rmdir role. You're not going to remove folder that has other things inside. Okay, so if I try to remove rm, for instance, okay, dir, then I say p3. Now, because p3 has a child inside it that is p4, it's going to give me an error. You understand? Fail to remove p3. No such file in the directory. Okay, so, but if you check dir, you see, okay, there's no p3, it's p2. Okay, let me even say remove p2, it will not still work. rm dir, then p2. It's not going to work. Okay, the directory is not what? Empty. So this means that there's a child inside it. So, but first of all, okay, let me click cd and go back. Okay, and then dir, then I enter cd documents. Okay, this is where we are. Let me clear screen. So we are now in documents. Now what I want to do is to create multiple folders. So what I say that make directory, that's mkdir, that's how to do it. Then if you want to make a folder and a subfolder, you follow it off with -p, that is parents, right? Then you give a space. Okay, let me use pr1, that's let me just say f1, file 1. Then you use slash because you are going to this, sorry, file 1, say file 1 slash. Is that the file 1 will give birth to a child, file 2? I will give birth to another child, file 3. Enter. So this is how to make directory. So if you check cd now, cd F1, enter. Okay, I am now in F1. If I say dir, you are going to see, okay, that F2 is in it. So let me enter F2. See, change directory to what? F2. Then you enter. Okay, what is the child? I can say dir. Okay, enter. So it contains F3, and that's the last file here. So that is how to, create subfolders. So I've passed time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to round up here. CD. Oh, all right. So I'm going to give you, if you go to browser now, this is where I'm going to end this class, please, because we don't have time to come back. This is not I'm trying to, as much as possible, to make this thing very easy. And so this is like a very good introduction to Linux. Nobody's going to this is not a class for this, is just DAIPODS. You just have to, the next time we are going to be meeting, I will share a file with you. You are going to work on word processing, go to PowerPoint, then go to Excel, do some, data analysis and all that. So I think we have done enough of all this thing, but you need to really understand what we are trying to do. Just understand the principle, what I simply did today. Okay, let me summarize that. I'm able to install a virtual box. I'm able to put a host, a guest OS, which is Ubuntu, and Ubuntu is a Linux distribution, right? So that I can, without it, I cannot run these commands on this thing, right? So there are other ones, but we can't keep on doing this. So we have to move on. So what I'm going to see, if you go to, let me just show you before I end the class. All you need to do is, if you are really interested in Linux, you can check for Linux they call it cheat sheets. Okay, cheat sheets, there are a lot of them. You can see people have developed different ones. So you see the one that's, let me open this one for instance. Okay, you can see, so basic command, all these things that we did here today, look at it, ls -al sudo and everything. I'm showing you this thing because it is really impossible for me to teach. You can even go to ChatGPT as well, let me just check something. Click on new, this thing, I can say basic Linux commands and their usage. In a tabular form. A simple prompt like this, I'm sure ChatGPT will not fail. Okay, yeah. pwd lsc make directory, remove touch cp mv blah 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 blah. You can see. So you can, this is an example, transfer data to or from a server, blah blah blah. So please, this is where I want to draw the curtain today. Remember, this is just DAIPODS introduction, not really drilling deeper into the whole Linux and everything. I'm just showing you, you can see I can use this thing to do my cybersecurity, I can use it to do my DevOps. I can use it to do my system administration, run my server administration and all that. So you could see what people do is not magic. At least you yourself have been introduced to that world. All you need to do now to explore, try and practice more. Of course, this is DAIPODS, it's more like general this. A lot of people don't know the importance of this. Of course, I'm not, I made it very, very compulsory, so that if you miss it, you miss it. There's no two ways about it. And when you go for some job interviews, you're going to see that these things will come back haunting you again most of the time. So, guys, the next time we see, we have exhausted. I'm not going to do. There's another one. Let me even show you the slides. There's another one, shell, but I'm not going to do shell scripting. Where is it? Look at it here. Okay, let me just. I'm sharing the other screen, so I need to switch display swap here. Okay, so look at shell scripts. Okay, they call it PowerShell. In PowerShell is like a senior brother to command prompt. Command prompt is becoming outdated. So Microsoft, in their wisdom, decided to pull up another shell for users. So some people don't know that this is there. You can actually, let me remove this Zoom stuff. You can see if you go to just your search, you type PowerShell, you can right click and run as an administrator, just like we did in the my command prompt. So I'm not going to kind of go through this shell. Okay, it's very interesting. Shell can even be, in fact, there is this in this presentation. There's what they call Windows Shell, Windows PowerShell. So I went through how to install it so that you can run Linux on it, and but that's not this thing. Another one is Git Bash. I'll leave this thing for the programmers because you're going to be doing a lot of GitHub pull and push and everything. This is for version control. So I'm going to jump on the next time we come, we're going to look at displays windows, and then from there we look at file extensions. After file extensions, we are now going to go to application and go to Microsoft Word and start. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're already 11 minutes. Of course, please, we need to kind of recover the time that we lost starting. I'm sorry, I started 15 minutes later than we were supposed to start, but because I was in another important meeting. So, see you guys next week. Thank you very much for attending. Does anybody have any question before I end? There's no hand raised. It's any hand raised. Okay. I think there's no question. There's no hand raised. So, thank you everyone for attending. I think we'll draw the curtain here. I'll stop recording right now.